Loads of talking, top rope walking, ultimate exit, serious flexing. Never be vague with your boy Craig. And opinion mixing from Pete to Nixon. Keep doing things in an impactful way. Bloody nonsense, as the Brits say. Talking bloody nonsense.
Yes, it's me. It's the MIC, Craig, aka Mr. Impact. Joined as always by the one and only Peter Nixon. This is Talking Bloody Nonsense right here on the TNIW channel. It's a new week, it's a new Impact. But first things first, Nixon, how's it going?
Yeah, all good here. Thanks. Not much to report. I know we'll get to it later on, but I'm halfway through the IPWF Throwback Throwdown. I love when they do the IPWF stuff, but because it's non-canonical, it doesn't feel as important. And I've had a lot of other stuff going on. I've just done 9 days straight at work, so I just haven't had time to watch it. But yeah, I've enjoyed what I've seen so far.
Yeah, it's an interesting show. Obviously, they usually are, and it's just, like I said, it's just a bit of fun. They do every year now, and they deal with it.
Yeah,
so
it doesn't need to be any more than once a year. Yeah. It's just a fun little show. Once a year is enough.
Yeah, it's nonsense. So I guess we should start the show, and unfortunately, I have to start with some sad news. TBN chat guest and worked for promotions everywhere, but of course you know him better than I do. Unfortunately, Len Davies, I said former TBN chat guest, has sadly passed away earlier this week. Obviously you'd informed us that he'd been unwell for some time, and it came to, I think, from most people, assuming came as a shock that he's passed away. Because obviously, you knew much better than I did. I mean, where did you start in a conversation like this? It's not something that we would expect him, but obviously you interviewed him, you shared his story. So I mean, where do you start with this?
Yeah, I mean, there's no way you can start. Unfortunately, Len did pass away late last week. Poor old boy, he'd been in hospital for a long time. I'd say probably 6 months he'd been there. He had to have his foot amputated, and then more of his leg amputated later on. But he remained positive throughout this whole journey. He was going on Instagram, live on Instagram every day, and just talking for 5 minutes. And he was just so positive, and he kept on looking forward to the future. Like, this isn't going to stop me. Poor old boy. It was really sad. He had such a positive effect on so many people's lives, and his story is just so fascinating. Just the things he's done in his life. We did the TBN chats with him in February, I believe. And we try and keep these things to half an hour, but me and Glenn spoke for a whole hour, and we'd only covered half of the stuff that I'd written down. So I said, let's do a part 2. And unfortunately, he went into hospital soon after, and we never got the chance to do it. But if you are interested in Glenn's story, go back and watch TBN chats. I think it's number 4 with Len Davies, because it's just fascinating. He's got so many cool stories about, his upbringing, his, life in wrestling, because he was never a wrestler. He was a producer, director, and he worked in TV. Such an informed, intelligent, clever bloke. He was influential in TNA coming to the UK, and working in production on those shows. So he's got some great stories. He shared one with me off air about Scott Steiner in Zurich, which I'm not going to tell it on the podcast because it was a private story, but if you know me, then I'll tell you. But yeah, really, really gutted for Len. Such a positive, smart, amazing fella. And rest in peace, sir.
Yeah, obviously, I wasn't part of the interview, but watching it and just listening to what to say, clearly someone who cared and was passionate about what he did, and every as quite a few tributes to him on social media, and from everyone what everyone was saying, no one had a bad to say against him. It was just and that came through really well. That he was just a genuinely nice person, which is very rare to find now. It's, I mean, like I said, the information TNA coming to the UK, worked with the WWE at some point, WF at the time. If I remember rightly, even had some work with ECW.
Yeah, so when the ECW DVDs started coming out in the UK, produced by Delta Music, the copyright issues, because ECW didn't care about copyright, in terms of music. So people were using entrance themes willy-nilly. Obviously, Sandman used Metallica, RVD used Pantera, used so many. But you can't really get away with that over here. So the DVDs had to be dubbed over with, the entrance themes anyway, had to be dubbed over with music that they were allowed to use. And Len produced all of that music that you hear on those ECW DVDs. And I used to buy the ECW DVDs way before I got into wrestling. So when I met Len and found out that he was the person behind them, we had a long old chat about that, and I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, like I said, just someone who was clearly passionate about what he did, cared about making it the best he could make it, and all the stories. That's definitely chats that I've enjoyed listening to because of the stories. Because you get almost a peek behind the curtain, which it's not something you get to hear very often. So no, it's like I said, it's really sad news that he's passed on, and obviously sending every bit of positivity you have to anyone affected by this. It's a difficult time, and our DMs are open. But no, it's his story is out there and told for the most part, which can only be a positive thing. People can go and find out what influence he had in his business, and it's when you think about it, it's insane how many companies he's worked for, or not just in UK but in the US, and obviously a big part of just wrestling in general, which can't be overlooked. To sort of Impact UK even posted a tribute to him on their social media, which again got it's testament to how much of an impact he did have and how important he was to the UK tours, which are some of the you go back and look at the pictures from the UK tours, they looked incredible, especially that shot of Wembley Arena full. And if Len had been involved, maybe that wouldn't have got to that point. So like I said, just rest in peace, Len, and again, positivity to anyone affected by this, because it's it's a shock to most people, and there's not really much more we can. It's like our DMs are open if you're.
I want to give a specific shout out to Tom, Len's son, who is Len's next of kin, and he was the one that broke the news on Len's social media. He has to now sort everything out. So if you know Tom, get in touch with him, just see how he's doing. Chuck him some positive vibes.
Yeah, that's what we can do, and just I hope it's at peace, so we can hope. So I suppose now we move on, and we talk some positive stuff, if you like, and I think we'll get into because Josh Alexander's title reign, because my goodness, on 28 days away from becoming world champion in history, which I didn't think it would happen this soon, as probably would, even though it has been almost 10 years. Just a
nearly 10 years since Bobby Roode's reign finished,
which is crazy. I mean, what have you thought to Josh's reign so far? Obviously, he's beaten everyone, some of the biggest names in wrestling currently, and going to Hard to Kill and facing Bully Ray, an Impact Hall of Famer. What have you made to this title run so far? I know a lot of people, and I've said this as well, that it's just been kind of a little bit lackluster, not in terms of the names, but in terms of, well, we know Josh isn't going to lose. What have you thought of Josh's Impact Wrestling World title reign so far?
I couldn't really put it any better than that. Where most of the matches, I've thought to myself, well, there's no way Josh is losing. The one time that I thought maybe was the Kazarian match at Overdrive, and that's only because they did such a great job hyping Kazarian as like, it's all or nothing for Kazarian. This is his one and only first and last opportunity at the world title. I guess he had opportunities in 2007, but it felt like a big deal, and perhaps Kazarian could do it, but of course there was no way. He wrestles for AEW. Likely that's him done with Impact for the time being after the Kentucky tapings. I guess there's stuff going on that I don't know about.
So we know.
But this isn't to say that all of Josh's matches weren't absolute bangers, because they were. There's only one match that really didn't pull me in, and that was the Joe Doring match. And it was fine, but it was so predictable, and it went on after a hell of a card. I think it was Against All Odds.
Yeah.
The show was so good that they just couldn't top what you've seen already. And I guess that's a credit to the Impact roster, really. But I don't know if you could call the reign lackluster, because the matches have been so good.
Yeah.
But we need someone to come along and really feel like a threat to Josh's reign, because I don't think Bully Ray is going to win the title at Hard to Kill.
And that was going to be my next question. Yeah, it is one of those things where this has been a great feud in the last couple of weeks, because we all know what Bully Ray is. We all know what he does. And this has been since Moose, when Josh won the title, this has been the most heated feud Josh has had as Impact World Champion. And Bully Ray is a prick, let's be real. That's what he does. And he does it very, very well.
Yeah. I was so negative when Bully Ray came back but he's really won me over. His work has been tremendous.
Yeah, excellent. And if you caught last week's Impact, like I obviously, because we all know the deal with wrestling, but when they can get you to switch off and accept this as a reality, like this is actually happening, this is real. It's not, wrestling isn't real. It's like this isn't just a storyline. This is real life. He made it personal. I wanted Scott to kill him. I wanted Scott to get that chair and smash it over his head. And that's a testament to what Bully Ray can do and what the storyline impact of presenting here. And how over, I think it came more from Jen getting attacked. I think that's pissed off the Impact fans the most because, Jade is essentially over, as is Jet. Obviously, Jet wasn't involved in that segment, but
no, you couldn't have involved Jet in that.
And that was my thing. You had a feeling something was going to happen after Overdrive. Overdrive, when Jet was obviously taken away from ringside. Something was going to happen then because Jet wasn't there anymore, but Jade was. So you obviously knew. I had a feeling something was going to happen there, and it did. But as far as Josh's title reign goes, when it's all said and done, whenever this comes to an end, whoever beats Josh, you look at it, looking at the list of people he's beaten. This is what his title reign will be remembered for. The people he's beaten. I can't remember if he beat Charlie Haas, but after the World Championship.
No, it was in the lead up to the Moose match.
Yeah, I think it was when it's getting obstacles thrown his way.
Yeah,
but
I mean, you could look at it from this angle. Look at the people he's beaten this year, and the people he's beaten since becoming world champion at Bound for Glory last year. Right.
He's beaten Suzuki. He's beaten Ishii. He's beaten Charlie.
Christian Cage.
It's insane, people he's beaten. And I saw this thing on Twitter, because it had to be Twitter if it's negative. It was in response to Lance Storm confused it to the Hangman and Moxley storyline. One confused why Hangman's annoyed at Mox or something. Also, I don't know what's going on with AW, but and someone just being a troll essentially said maybe focus on TNA when you've got old people like Bully Ray burying your young talent. Like Bully Ray beat Moose in a tables match. That's it. Obviously, he won the tag match against Bullet Club, but he pinned Juice in Bay or Ace. He pinned Juice, which to say that having Bully Ray bury the young talent is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, he beat Juice, who was on his way out of the company.
Yeah.
And he beat Moose in a tables match, which is Bully Ray's match.
Yeah.
And he did it at the start of the show, which at the end of the show, he turned heel and did that incredible angle.
Exactly.
So, if he'd have lost, he'd have looked like a fool.
Yeah.
So no, you're right. He's not burying anyone, not yet, anyway. The Hangman Moxley thing is all because Moxley gave Hangman a concussion, so it does make sense. But that's ridiculous that someone would call Lance Storm out on Bully Ray burying the young talent.
Yeah, but I guess that's the thing people like to spin, the LOL TNA stuff.
Exactly.
Which is never going to go.
No, we're never going to shake that stick, I'm afraid.
No, but I think at some point we should do a segment of where we react to the LOL TNA tweets, because some of them are absolutely hilarious. I mean, I saw one, this guy, I was, again, the same response. They were AEW trolls essentially having to go at Lance Storm and saying that, why are you having to go at AEW and Impact, their the lighting is shitty and you can't see the fans. But he used a picture from Hard to Kill from 2019.
Right.
Like, that's not, you can't put that logic in when if you haven't seen it in the last few months. I mean, yeah, it's obviously not great, but it's all about what they can, what doing the best with what they have.
Mm.
So it's beyond ridiculous. But on back onto Josh quickly. It's just one of those things where this will be looked back on as he will break the reign of Bobby Roode.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I had hopes that Bobby Roode would come back before he broke the reign, but sadly, that's not possible as Bobby Roode's currently injured and just recovering from surgery, which is very unfortunate. But even without Bobby Roode, this reign, I mean, it's going to be incredible. And we saw how the feud with Moose went between Moose and Josh. Now I've got doing like the same, something a little bit worse, to be honest. I mean, Moose speared Jade, but that was about as far as I went to the house. But Moose wasn't about to put this power driver on a concrete floor.
Mm.
So it's all perspective, I guess. But yeah,
I have a question about that angle overdrive. So obviously, Bully cable tied Josh's wrist to the rope, and Josh got free. Was he meant to get free, and they covered it, or was that meant to happen?
I don't know if it was supposed to get free now. I don't think that's supposed to happen.
Because if it was a botch, they covered it very, very well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've seen types have happened before. I don't think Bully tied it quite enough, and Josh just strained a bit and it snapped. Yeah, I think he just. I mean, he tried it with Rich on Impact this weekend. He did it a bit more. Obviously, I imagine Rich has got slightly smaller wrist than Josh, but yeah, I don't think. Obviously, we have seen botches in that type of stuff before with cable ties. I mean, especially go back to I think it was Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens, and they took forever.
Oh yeah,
getting Owens tied. Yeah, getting Owens tied to the grid, and the referee stopped counting for about 10 seconds.
Yeah, and Heyman couldn't unlock Roman, could he?
Roman, yeah,
couldn't get the key in. So yeah, the ref had to call an audible and just stop counting.
Yeah, but it's obviously different. I don't think that's supposed to happen per se, but I don't know. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Who knows?
Not that it matters, because the angle got pulled off anyway. Yeah,
and obviously, again, it was the trolls essentially said, "Oh, why didn't Josh stop him then?" It's not part of the story. You just go with it.
Yeah,
Josh wasn't supposed to stop him. But yeah, I think all in all it's gonna be a great one, and obviously I have more of a reason why I don't want to see Buddy beat Josh at Hard to Kill, because February the 6th in Manchester, Josh Alexander is defending the Impact World Championship against Kez Evans. I can't wait to be at that show, and I'm going to be meeting Josh Alexander, which is beyond insane. So extra reason, yes. Sovereign Pro already putting out great shows. Like, this is their second show, and they've pulled Josh Alexander and got to defend the Impact World Championship on the second show. That's like, wow. It's that, and Josh was a replacement. He wasn't supposed to be on that show originally, which is beyond awesome. Hard to see it. Yeah, that's Josh's title reign. He's, as of recording, he's 28 days away, but so this goes out, it'll be 27 days, and whenever you watch it, he might have already broken it. Who knows? But I think he will. It's going to happen. Bully isn't beating Josh. It's just a nice story to go along with. So now we're going to move on. Still on Impact. It was announced Tasha Steelz has re-signed last week. Eric Young was killed off because that's what Impact do. It'll just kill you off. And also, as we recorded on the Wednesday, about 2 hours ago, it was broken that John Skyler has re-signed with Impact Wrestling. Now, first of all, we'll start on the re-signings of Tasha Steelz and John Skyler. Yeah, what do you make of that? Obviously, a lot of people thought Tasha was going to pop up in AEW for the baddies thing. Didn't happen. She's staying with Impact, which I guess most people seem surprised by. Were you surprised by that, or were you kind of thinking, well, I don't. What were your thoughts on Tasha Steelz re-signing with Impact?
It doesn't surprise me. It would have made perfect sense for her to rock up in AEW. You know, she's really talented, and she would have fit right in with Jade Cargill's faction. At the same time, it hasn't worked out for a lot of the Impact women and men going over to AEW. Because what have they done with Caleb Conley and Jake Something and Rohit Raju, Kira Hogan, Madison Rayne? You know, they're just not being featured. You can say Madison Rayne is on TV once every third week.
Yeah.
And I think Kira Hogan is wrestling this week, but she hasn't wrestled on TV in a long, long time. I'm not counting AEW Dark because it doesn't count.
Right.
Yeah, it's frustrating to see these talented men and women get their supposedly big opportunity and then just not get used. So it doesn't surprise me that Tasha stuck around in Impact because she knows where her bread is buttered. I'm sure they threw a bit more money at her, and she's got freedom to do other bits and pieces. So yeah. I'm pleased that Tasha re-signed, but I'm not surprised. I think it makes the most sense for her to stay.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Tasha still has a lot of potential, and right now she's very good, but she can be even better with the time invested in her, which Impact clearly wants to do. They want to invest that time. They want to invest an effort into making Tasha a big deal. I mean, she beat Mickie James. Like, she was Knockouts World Champion, Knockouts Tag Team Champion.
Yeah, but she won the first ever women's Ultimate X.
Yeah.
But it's not just, time invested in Tasha, it's merchandise. Because if she went over to AEW, she would not get a look.
No.
Whereas Impact have got action figures coming out next year. She's already had a micro brawler. She's already had T-shirts. So I think it makes more sense because she's going to make a bit of money off of that as well.
Yeah. Well, obviously Lucha really wants it to happen. Tasha Steelz in Bullet Club. What would you think of that?
I think that makes sense because they haven't had many women in Bullet Club. In fact, the only one I can think of is Luke Gallows' ex-wife.
Yeah, Amber Gallows. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I see anyone as well, and she'd fit right in. Yeah. I'm all for that. So
with New Japan finally having a women's division after 40 years, it's the time to put some women in Bullet Club, and all the big factions.
Yeah, she's got that attitude as well to fit in very well. Like to be no, they don't feel like heels even though they are. Like they're the cool people who they're bad guys but they're good guys. Like it's the anti-heroes, if you like.
Yeah.
So I think very, very, very much all for that. John Skyler. Now, see, if you've watched previous episodes and we've talked about John Skyler being on the we did our roster in-depth look and set the roster, we both said bye John Skyler, but he's back. From what I've read in the article, he was supposed to resign earlier, but there was issues with the contract. It didn't. I'm not sure what happened. So I haven't listened to the interview either. Did it with the Angle podcast, I believe. So I I don't know the details of that, but yeah, he's re-signed for multiple years. Where do you stand on that one? Because if Impact clearly sees something in him, and if they can show us what they see in him, let's go for it.
Well, yeah, exactly. You know, I just think he's painfully average from what I've seen. He's just your typical indie wrestler. You know, short, stocky, generic gear, long hair. Show me something, John Skyler. You know, Impact clearly sees something in you. You signed for multiple years, which baffles me considering most people just get 6 months. Yeah. Prove yourself. You know, when given the ball, run with it. And I hope you prove me wrong.
Yeah, I'm all for new talent coming in, and if they can show us what they can do and why, if Impact can show us what they're investing in, and we get invested in it as a fan, I'm all for it.
Yeah, we have eaten our words before. Look at Steve Macklin. Look at W. Morrissey.
Exactly. It's what about what Impact showing us? Impact showing us what they see. Some cool new signing, and from 2 new signings to someone on the way out, which with all the rumors, it's probably heading back to WWE, which, you know, if you want to make money, go for it. Eric Young. Impact continuing killing off their talent. I mean, what we've had Mickey James being hit by a train and surviving. We've had Luchasaurus being hit with a wrench. Ali being stabbed in the neck with Freddy Krueger hand thing. We've had Ethan Page ripping out his own heart, or Karate Man ripping out his own heart. And now EY's been stabbed. I mean, but obviously the important thing in TV is unless you see the body, there's always a chance they can come back. That's always a rule on TV. Unless you see the body, there's always a chance they can come back. But yeah, what's your thoughts on Eric Young heading out, the way he headed out? And yeah, it seems pretty clear he's going back to WWE.
What I like about when Impact kills off a talent, it's so tongue-in-cheek. You know, even the casual viewer will see that and not really take it seriously. You know, everyone knows Eric Young was on his way out. 99% sure back to WWE, which is great. You know, we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago. You know, if he has that opportunity, go for it, and hopefully Triple H uses him better than Vince did.
Shouldn't be too difficult.
That's very true. Eric Young can do absolutely everything. Yes. Hopefully Triple H sees that in him and, you know, finds a good spot for him. But yeah, the whole killing off thing is something that Lucha Underground used to do, and that show was totally tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that. So yeah, that doesn't bother me, the whole killing off thing.
No, it is what it is.
Exactly.
Like, Impact, they know how to have fun with it. Like, they understand what wrestling is about. I mean there are still a few people saying, well, it's just not realistic, which is a ridiculous argument for wrestling when you have dead men. You have zombies, essentially.
Yes. But
that's fine. People can get invested in that and be a lifelong fan of that. But, you know, if they get killed off, it's just, they're not killing him off. He's being sent to another realm. So it's all about just being creative, essentially. So just obviously, you know, they did, in the same show they did write off Kazarian, but that was to help Macklin, and that it didn't need to have that feel because Kazarian was just there. They didn't need to do anything over the top for write Kazarian off. Young, the way he did it, is saying I was the designer, but you were the design. Perfect. I couldn't fault that segment in any way. I thought it was excellent. Now it's all about whether, because obviously they want to push, they're going to be pushing Dina. I don't know to what extent, but can Dina carry this on his own? That's going to be the big question.
Mm.
I mean, like I say, Impact have the benefit of the doubt with most of their booking decisions. So I'm intrigued to see what they do with Dina, and whether they keep VBD together with Dina as the leader. I don't know. I kind of have to, or it wouldn't make sense to bring in Angels and Con in.
Exactly.
So
that was so recent. It's so fresh in people's mind. Bringing in Aaron Angels and Con, that Dina kind of has to be the leader now.
Yeah, I'm interested in how they do this, because Dina has a good character. He's a very good hand, and had a bout in match with Speedball for the Extreme title.
Mm-hmm.
A very, very good match, and we know he can go. So, and it's people seem to forget that he is essentially a veteran. He's been around for years. Was a former Knockouts champion, if you like. But I'm sure they want to move on from that. There, if they want to take him seriously as the leader of this brutal faction who are just all about the violence. So I'm fine with it. I like Impact just being creative instead of just the standard. Oh, he's been beaten up. He's off TV now. Kill him off. Why not? It's not like they can't come back.
Yeah,
exactly. We know that Impact have done a good job of creating this undead realm where people go and can somehow come back from. Madison Rayne did it without anyone even knowing. Madison Rayne came back from the undead realm, and no one knew how she got back.
Yeah.
So it's
Jim Mitchell makes it back every time.
There we go. You can always come back, but I hope. Actually, it seems almost 90% he's going back to the WWE. Hopefully, he can come back on the main roster, because he's been to NXT. He knows what that's all about. He's been successful there as a former NXT Tag Team Champion. Main roster is where he was just there floating around, not really doing anything.
Yeah.
I think he had a couple of multi-person matches. They split Sanity up pretty quickly. So hopefully they can do something with him, because he's so good at what he does.
Mm-hmm.
I've said it many times. Everyone says, "Oh, Jericho's so clever at reinventing himself." Eric Young is just as clever at doing that with his character. He's played everything you can possibly think of. He's been a superhero. He's been a heel in every form, essentially. It was that chicken heel, was the angry heel, was the violent heel. So, yeah, hopefully you can do well with them. Now, we will be going to Final 10 real quickly, but we will touch on IPWF just quickly. Obviously, you mentioned that you've only watched half of it and you're up to a match, but we made to the IPWF. Obviously, for me, I know for a lot of people, even the crowd seemed they couldn't fully get invested in it, because there's no real storyline attached to it. It's a storyline that's been created, and we've seen it, and this is the payoff to that storyline we haven't seen. And obviously, it's a bit of throwback. What have you made to IPWF so far?
Well, I always enjoy it, because it's just fun. It is hard to get invested, because, like I said earlier, it's non-canon. It doesn't matter in the universe of Impact Wrestling. It's his own little bubble, and even that is stretched. They keep referring to Downtown Daddy Brown, who is no longer with the company. Mac did not resign. It's terminology of the day, tongue in cheek. We know it's
Yeah.
a parody of the old days. So it's dinky.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's a fair point. Like I said, I enjoy them. They always make me laugh without fail, and that's the point to most of it. So up until this point, what have you seen? Because I can't remember any. I watched it 3 days ago. I can't remember any of it apart from some of the results and some of the characters. Like, who have you seen that we haven't seen on the IPWF beforehand? Like, have you seen Speedball's My Baby's character?
Not yet.
No. Do you know who's playing? I know there was the posters. No. Okay. So it's sort of, but I like how they've got on the card they've got Tommy Dreamer as Tommy Dreamer.
Yeah.
Right, and they've got Johnny Swinger as Johnny Swinger. So I like that style of thing,
and that young buck Mike Jackson.
Yeah, it's really just fun, which wrestling is allowed to be fun. You haven't got to take it seriously all of the time, which Impact don't always take it very seriously. It's fair enough for them because wrestling is silly sometimes. It's allowed to be silly, and so I don't want to get, if you haven't seen it, I don't want to give obviously any spoilers away, but I like that this show is it's taking it to conventions now. I like how they put in because it was that WrestleCon last Mania, which I don't think we'll ever see because a lot of people thought that they'd be showing the WrestleCon one as the third, but we haven't seen it. I don't think we'll ever get to see it, which is interesting. I'm not bothered that much because it's not like you've got to watch it to follow a story. But yeah, it's just very fun, and it's allowed to be fun because they're taking the piss a little bit.
Yeah,
and there's nothing wrong with that sometimes.
Exactly.
It's just it's enjoyable. I mean, I know a lot of people were hoping, Lucha was hoping that we get Tessa Blanchard coming back
to rejoin the Rough Riders.
Yeah, Blanche Ardmore, was it? Yeah, Blanche Ardmore, and the Rough Riders. By the way, I really enjoyed the Rough Riders.
Yeah,
like that's a faction. Like, even though only got for one show, that was a faction. I thought was. And Alexia Nicole as Mildred something, and see,
of course, Georgia Cobb.
Yeah, and Lady Bird Johnston.
Yeah.
Which, have you seen the Lady Bird Johnston segment yet?
Yeah, the Tunnel of
Love. Yeah.
Yeah, with Rosemary's playing the Cyndi Lauper character.
Yeah. Tori Nailbiter.
Tori Nailbiter.
Which is just excellent. And Jimmy Jacobs, Brett Baker, the Hitmaker. Basically Jimmy Hart.
Yeah.
And Rusty Iron. I really want to see Gia Miller in the ring some more as Gia Miller. She's doing a great job on. She's part of the Wrestling Revolver shows often, and does a great job. We've seen she can wrestle. I want to see. I'd want to see Gia Miller in the ring a bit more. Obviously, means they may have to. They can work something out. Where they can have a feud between Gia Miller and someone, and Gia Miller has to step in the ring, even though we all know she can wrestle.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll get there.
Yeah, it's just all a bit of fun. Nah, I'm trying to think of what it was. I mean, I'm trying to remember the matches. Some of the matches, anyway. Had Josh Matthews as Giuseppe Scavetti Jr., which I like that they keep the recurring characters that they can, because it's the territories. It could change them up if they wanted to, but they don't. And I'm all for that. Just keeping some sort of recurring themes. And Penza as a water chestnut. It's just funny, you know. If by the way, if you know who's the tall guy in the mask, let us know, because we're not entirely sure. We recognize the others, and also who the paper boy is with the editor-in-chief.
Yeah,
Chris
Chris
Sabin.
Sabin character.
If you know who the paper boy is, let us know, because I think it's the second one I've got check, who never seems to be on TV unless he's teaming up with Jason Hotch. Like, you don't really see him that often. The last time we saw of him was outside Scott D'Amore's office when they're trying to decide which one the gut check winners are going to get in the coil shot. Also, Joe Hendry popped up. By the way, I loved the Joe Hendry segment on Impact last week. Joe Hendry and Moose thing was excellent. That's who I want to see Joe Hendry in the ring with. This is people need to
hopefully
stop
that's
facing.
what they're setting up for Hard to Kill. I'd be up for that.
Yeah, and it would also help the DMC as well. I'm someone like Moose challenging for the DMC. Yeah, it may not be his full aim, but it will help the DMC. It will help Joe Hendry. So I was all for it. But what do you think to the claim that it kind of forced that in a little bit? They forced that link of don't say his name ever again, and then Joe Hendry comes out. They say his name, and Joe Hendry appears. Some people are claiming that is kind of a bit too forced. What's your thought on that? Just we'll move on to Final 10.
Oh, even if it is, who cares?
Yeah,
It's Joe Hendry. It's cheesy. It's fun. It's meant to be a bit, a little bit obnoxious. Yeah, I'm fine with it being forced.
Yeah, it's all good. I think we need that. When people say stuff like that, I think we need the Heath clip of he's talking nonsense.
Yeah.
Jeff, if you can put that in, if you can, maybe you'll hear it, maybe you won't. Who knows? So yeah, I guess now let's go to the Final 10. We're a few minutes ahead, but it's time for that final 10. And again, if you tuned in last week, we made a little. We decided to have some fun, like you normally do. We're talking about the potential return of World of Sport here in the UK, and we thought we'd draft our very own rosters of the current crop of UK talent, and we've thrown in a couple imports in there for you. So the rules we set ourselves, we went for 20 wrestlers, including 2 imports. Tag teams count as 1. We chose a ring announcer, commentator, and backstage interviewer. Harold, do you want to go off one by one, or should we just in one person individually, or read our list out in full, and then I read my list out, you read yours? How do you want to do this?
Should we do roster by roster? So
yeah.
I'll do my men's, you do your men's, then you do your women's, I'll do my women's, and then we'll do the commentators, etc. afterwards.
Yep, sounds good. If you want to take away with your first part of your roster.
Okay, I'm not going to include my imports in this. This is my men's roster for the World of Sport reboot. I'm just going to go straight down the line. Gene Money, Scotty Rourke, Man Like DeReese, Will Cruz. If you haven't seen Will Cruz before, big man that can move.
Yes.
Really impressive.
Great dude.
Ricky Knight Jr., Mark Haskins, Tommy Kyle.
Top Gun Tommy Kyle.
Yep, absolutely. You said we're counting tag teams as 1, right?
Yep.
Sunshine Machine, Chuck Mambo and TK Cooper. Are our lists quite similar so far?
There's a couple in there I haven't got, but yeah, pretty much. By the way, shout out to Sunshine Machine for making the PDY number 24 and PDY 100. awesome.
Yeah, great news. Good for them. My other tag team, the 47, Roy Johnson and Alexander Roth. Simon Miller and Zach Knight. That is my men's roster.
Yes. There's some people that on the S that I think, damn, I should have added them. Didn't think of them until I literally wrote it down this morning and just off the top of my head, what I could think of that are some of the best I've seen.
Yeah, I'm certain when you read yours out, I'll be like, oh, why don't I include them?
Okay, so here's the men roster I chose. So I have Len Davies, Charles Crowley.
Okay.
Now this one I'm not sure. Technically not an import, but also they're not fully a free agent, but they were on the original World of Sport. Joe Hendry.
Mm-hmm.
Driller Dan Maloney.
Nice.
The Sunshine Machine. The Close Personal Friends. CPF. Gene Money. Leon Slater.
Mm-hmm. Good shout.
Again, I'll leave my imports to the very end. The current WOS Tag Team Champions, Grado and Davey Boy Jr. Yeah, and that's my men's roster.
Okay. I didn't include Grado because I don't think he's really doing much in wrestling at the moment. But obviously, I would love to have Grado as part of the show.
Yeah, excellent. So, yeah, now to your women's roster.
Okay, from the top, Charlie Morgan and Jetta.
Royal Aces. Excellent.
Alex Windsor. Lizzie Evo. Session Moth Martina. Emerson Jane. Nina Samuels. Rhea O'Reilly. And the woke queen, Debbie Keitel.
Again, a very solid roster that with some people can't believe I've overlooked. But I guess I read them out for you now. It starts off very, very similar.
Yeah.
I've gone Alex Windsor, Lizzie Evo, Royal Aces. Then I've gone Chantal Jordan.
Okay.
Lana Austin.
Yep.
Tonga. Millie McKenzie.
Oh, Millie McKenzie.
I do have another woman, but she's part of my imports. So
Okay.
I guess we'll should mention the imports now.
Yeah, go for it. My imports are Davey Boy Smith Jr. And I've gone with someone that you might not expect. Jake something.
Okay. What was the thinking on
I
Jake?
think you bring, because he's a big boy, you bring him over as an opposing monster, put the belt on him straight away, and have him as a heel, and have the baby faces chase Jake something.
I'm not gonna lie, I like the sound of that very much.
And because I think he's Canadian, isn't he? Because he's from North America, you've got that instant foreigner heel heat. We want one of our plucky Brits to be the first champion. Oh, dang.
I like it. No, I like it. For my imports, I've chosen Warhorse.
Okay.
He's got that social media following, which I think could help. And of my second import is the first and current IWGP Women's Champion, Kairi Sane.
Ah, brilliant.
I think someone who could do it. I mean, Kairi versus Alex Windsor already screams title feud.
Mm-hmm. I did think about Meiko Satomura as one of my imports. She's incredible.
Excellent. Just superb. So now we're going to move on to the announced team, if you like. I'll start off with my ring announcer. Look, I'm not. I mean, you may not have heard of him unless you're familiar with the West Midlands scene. But I've gone with Colin Russell Ames, a ring announcer. It's kamikaze. He did a bit for Wrestle Carnival. Someone's got a very, very good voice, and is also a good authority figure as well for these companies. Companies like Shropshire Wrestling, and it's very much Midlands based, but has a great voice and a really good MC. So I really rate. Who've you chosen as your ring announcer?
Again, it's someone that a lot of listeners might not be aware of. A gentleman called Terry Gauchi. We had Terry as ring announcer for WAW for a few years, and he's a comedian by trade, but he started getting into emceeing boxing shows, and then came over and started doing the big, the epic shows for WAW. Brilliant guy, really funny, professional, great voice. He was such a good ring announcer, just in terms of announcing people to the ring, the rules, etc. But also, when the cameras are off, keeping the crowd entertained and getting them hyped up. He was brilliant. He doesn't do wrestling anymore, unfortunately, but I think he would be brilliant on the new world of sport.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many good people ring announcing, MCing. There's so many talented people out there, and it's so many to choose from. So picking one was difficult. Now to the main commentary team, if you like. I've chosen, again, someone who's big on the West Midlands scene, but goes all over the place, and also a former TBN chats guest, which a lot of people on this list are. But we have them on for a reason.
Yeah.
So my commentators are, and a former Impact Wrestling, someone involved in Impact Wrestling. I've gone with Simon Hill and SoCal Val.
Oh, okay.
I think Simon Hill, he's just, it's like there's a reason we had him on the pod, because he's so professional, and again, it's clearly passionate about what he does, and he's very good at it. And SoCal Val, I've listened, watched the podcast. She obviously an original World of Sport commentator for the original reboot, and on Progress Wrestling, she's very good at what she does. For Impact, again, very good at what she did. So yeah, I've gone with Simon Hill and SoCal Val. Who are your lead commentators?
I've gone a bit old school with my commentators. I've gone with the Twisted Genius, Dean A.S., who was in the original 1PW and the FWA, IPWF UK, long storied career in British wrestling, knows his stuff, and is very, he's a great talker. He used to be a manager as well, so he has the gift of gab. And Andy Boy Simmons.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, of course I know Andy Boy. First show I ever went to was Impact Wrestling UK, and it was Sanjay Dutt and Andy Boy Simmons on commentary, and I could hear them behind me. I was stood in front of them. I could hear them doing their stuff. Very, very entertaining. So I completely see where that one has come from. Now we've also chosen a backstage interviewer, and I've gone with someone who you have on your list of wrestlers, but I've gone with backstage interviewer. Maybe could wrestle if he wanted to. I've gone with Simon Miller.
Okay. I actually went with SoCal Val as my backstage interviewer. You know,
Okay.
it's a job she's done before. She does it well.
Yeah.
She lives in the UK, even though she's obviously American.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think she'd be a great shout for World of Sport, and she was on the previous series as a commentator. So yeah, I think she has to be involved in the new reboot.
I mean, honestly, looking and listening to both of these rosters. It just goes to show the amount of talent in the UK right now. And yeah, we've added a couple of imports, but again, there's so much incredible talent to show here in UK. So if you want to let us know who you have on your fantasy world sport rosters, tweet us so you can see our social media handles. If you're listening, at TIW channel, at Mr. Impact Craig, at Peter Nixon Esquire ESQ. You can see, and we'll and who knows, if you're tweeting to us, we may even read some out. So, but yeah, there's some very, very good people on this scene right now. I guess with that, we'll wrap it up, and only just about 2 minutes over time, so not all bad. We managed to keep it to mostly an hour. Of course, follow us here, there, everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, and whatever else you podcast. Go check out every episode of TBN Chats with George Lydon, to Len Davies, of course, to Lizzie Evo at the very beginning, which, I mean, we're approaching a year now of this TBN Chats of the TBN. I think next week will be a year, because I know we missed an episode. I think next week is a year. And I think it's episode 50. I should really keep track of it. Yeah, it's, of course, episode 50, which, wow.
It's not even a milestone, 50. What's that?
I mean, nearly a year. That's what it is. It's beyond insane that people have watched and listened. So thank you for watching this bloody nonsense. Follow us here everywhere. Our trainer, of course, it was just a match game. We'll see over here. It's blankety blank from over here, and yeah, you may see a few familiar faces that don't necessarily visit the treehouse that very often. So go check them out. Funny stuff as always. Go Power Rankings. New co-host joining this week, next week, whenever you watch. The godfather of the Power Rankings, Lucha, will be joining Tatia and Bert as the new co-host of the Power Rankings. So go check them out. Always a laugh. And yeah, go check out all this bloody nonsense we do, and that this channel does, because we need to support. And please drop a subscribe if you're watching, because we see the algorithm. Most people who are watching aren't subscribing, and it'd really help us if you subscribe. It takes 2 seconds, and it just helps us more than you'll know.
We won't bombard you with notifications, honestly.
No, there's the bell if you want to click it, but if you don't, just hit the subscribe button, because it really helps. Okay, and drop a little comment in here. Let us know you've watched or what you thought of everything we do here, because for the most part, we're doing this for your entertainment. Yes, it's we enjoy doing it, but it's for you to watch and enjoy, have a little escape from whatever's going on, because people need an escape. So of course, I said go check out everything we do, because it's all fun, all nonsense, and more people need to watch Impact and be aware of the British wrestling scene. And I hope in our little corner on the internet it can help in any little way. So go check out everything. I've been MLC. This has been Nixon. Until next time, bye, my friends.